Many know the Scarlet Witch from the pages of comics and the screens of movies. What if I told you her story began long before Marvel, long before Hollywood? Ancient records whisper of a woman who once walked the earth in a forgotten age. Some place her in 500 BC, others as far back as 2000 BC. She was said to carry powers beyond human reach. The gift to read and control minds, to reshape reality itself, and to bend the thread of fate. Unlike kings or warriors, her name was never written in scrolls, yet her legend lived in the fear of nations. They called her the Scarlet Witch. Some claimed she was chosen by the spirit realm. Others believed she was cursed at birth. But one truth was agreed upon. Wherever she went, destiny changed. And so the question remains, was the Scarlet Witch only a tale of Marvel imagination? Or was she drawn from the echoes of a real woman whose power shaped the ancient world? Long ago, in the days before kingdoms rose and fell, when men still feared the spirits of the forest, a child was born whose name was never written in any scroll. Her story lived only in whispers, carried from one generation to another. She was born to a young woman who carried a heavy shame. The woman was promised to the man of her dreams, but before their wedding, she found herself pregnant by another. Fearing the truth would ruin her future, she hid her pregnancy in secret. When the day came, she gave birth alone. The baby's cries pierced her heart, but the mother's fear was stronger than her love. That same night, under the cover of darkness, she carried the newborn deep into the forest, laid her down on the cold earth, and walked away. For 3 nights, the child cried. The forest was filled with her weak, sorrowful voice. Wolves prowled. Owls circled above, but none touched her. On the 3rd night, her cry was heard not by man, but by a spirit. The spirit was moved by her suffering. It came down, unseen by human eyes, and cast a protective spell over the baby. From that moment, she was no longer an ordinary child. She was bound to the realm between life and death, chosen as a vessel through which the spirit world could touch the living. The spirits gave her a gift, the power to read the minds of men and to bend their will. Even as an infant, she carried this power within her. Weeks later, a hunter walked through that same forest. He was searching for deer when he heard a faint cry. Following the sound, he came upon the child, wrapped in cloth, weak but alive. Beside her lay an emerald stone, sealed in a wooden carving as if it were sacred. The hunter froze in awe. How could a baby survive alone for so long? Believing it to be a sign from God, he lifted her in his arms and took her home. His wife, who had been barren all her life, wept with joy. She kissed the child's forehead, saying she was a miracle sent to them. From that day, they raised her as their own daughter. But the child was not ordinary. Months passed, and one morning the couple woke to find her lifeless. Her body was cold, her chest no longer rising with breath. They screamed in grief, yet something more terrifying awaited them. The emerald necklace, which had been locked away far from her reach, was hanging around her neck again. The parents wept, but by midday they accepted that she was gone. They dug a hole in the earth, laid her body inside, and prepared to cover her with soil. But as the first handful of dirt touched her skin, she let out a sharp cry. The mourners stumbled back in fear. The child was alive again. That night, the hunter dreamed. In his sleep, he saw blood, fire, and shadows circling the child. He awoke trembling. He told his wife, but she told him it was only a dream. The next night, the same vision returned, darker than before. Soon, the dream came every night. Finally, the hunter whispered to himself, "This child does not belong to this world." Against his wife's wishes, One night he carried the baby back into the forest, to the very place where he had found her. But he never returned. The next morning, his wife awoke to find the baby beside her bed, smiling as if nothing had happened. That same morning, villagers found the hunter's body torn apart, ripped to pieces by beasts. The widow mourned bitterly, but strange things began to happen. Hunters, even strangers she had never met, started to bring fresh meat to her home. At times, she would find an animal killed and placed by her door without knowing who had left it. Soon, there was more than she needed, and she began to sell some of it in the market. Villagers whispered that she was a witch, casting spells on hunters. But the truth was the baby's hidden power at work. The girl grew. She was well-mannered, humble, and kind. Yet, she carried a secret darkness. At 16, she began to show her true gift. She could see the past and the future. She could enter people's minds without them knowing. She could even erase their memories if she wished. One day, she told one of the villagers, "In 6 months, you will marry Elias, and 7 months after your wedding, you will give birth to 3 sons." They laughed at her. But 6 months later, the wedding took place. 7 months after, the girl gave birth to triplets. Another time, she warned a man, "You will die before the next harvest." He mocked her. When the harvest season came, he was dead, exactly as she had foretold. The people feared her. But when sickness struck, or when disaster loomed, they came to her for answers. And she always knew. She became a judge of men's hearts. She could see who carried evil and who carried good. Those who plotted against her or her mother never lived to carry out their plans. By then, people had begun to call her the Scarlet Witch. She was beautiful, innocent in face, but her eyes carried the weight of another world. Around her neck, the emerald stone never left her, as if her very life depended on it. Her fame reached the palace. The king summoned her, commanding her to reveal his future. His dream was to conquer kingdoms and build an empire that would outlive him. The witch stood before him, her necklace shining faintly. She looked into his future and told him, "Your path will not lead to glory. It will bring ruin, blood, and your tragic end." The king's pride was wounded. He tried to tempt her with wealth, even promising her a share of the throne if she would fight for him. She refused. His anger burned. He ordered his guards to seize her. But as they moved, their minds twisted. In their eyes, they thought they had captured her. In truth, she had bent their thoughts. The king himself found that he was driving her in his royal wagon, delivering her safely back to her home. By the time he realized what had happened, it was too late. The king trembled with fear. He declared her a witch, commanding his soldiers to destroy her. Armies marched against her, but she had already seen their coming. With only a whisper, she turned them upon each other. None survived. The king called upon sorcerers, dark priests, and magicians. None could match her. One by one they fell, his lands drowned in blood, while she walked untouched. Still, the witch never sought conquest. She returned always to her mother, the only one who truly loved her. Yet, deep within, she carried a secret torment, visions of her mother's death. Again and again, no matter how she twisted fate or reshaped reality, the end was always the same. Her mother would die. She couldn't see when, only that it would come. One night, while she battled the king's men, the king discovered her weakness. If he could not harm her, he would strike her heart, her mother. In his madness, he sent assassins into her home. The Scarlet Witch returned from battle, weary but unbroken. But when she entered her home, her world fell apart. Her mother lay lifeless on the ground, a sword driven through her chest. For the first time, she did not foresee it. For the first time, she had been blind. Her scream shook the skies. Her grief became fire. Her sorrow became lightning. The heavens split open, and the full depth of her power was unleashed. Flames rained from the clouds. Thunder roared. Winds tore through the land. The king's palace crumbled under a storm of fury. His army, tens of thousands strong, was struck by lightning in a single breath, their bodies turning to ash. The king himself, standing atop his walls, was burned alive where he stood, his empire collapsing in an instant. When dawn came, the kingdom was no more. Villages lay in ruins. The few who survived wandered in silence, trembling. They told only one story: that the Scarlet Witch's grief had brought the wrath of the heavens. After that day, she was never seen again. Some say she vanished into the forest where she was first found. Others believe she walked into the realm of spirits, her task complete. But one truth remains: she was not a savior, nor was she a monster. She was balance itself, a force that could save the world or end it. The Scarlet Witch.